The ancient civilizations of Egypt and Mesopotamia were among the first to practice organized religion. People worshipped many gods, each one responsible for a different area of life. Gods were worshipped in large temples, staffed by priests. In these, and in other early civilizations, organized religion was a powerful unifying force. The most famous Egyptian temple at Karnak was dedicated to the creator god Amun-Re, his wife Mut, and Montu, the war god. Over hundreds of years, the temple was enlarged by succeeding pharaohs to become one of the largest religious complexes in the world. Ra, the god of the sun, shown in many different forms, often with a solar disk on his head. Horus, god of the sky and protector of the pharaoh, shown as a falcon or a falcon-headed man. Thoth, god of wisdom and writing, shown as a baboon or an ibis, or a man with their heads. Khnum, god of pottery who made the first humans out of clay, shown with a ram's head. Hathor, goddess of joy and music, shown as a woman with the ears or head of a cow. Egyptian gods took the form of animals, humans, and sometimes a mixture of the two. Re-Horakti, above, combined the features of Ra and Horus. Festivals in ancient Egypt were quite the spectacle. Each god had their own special festival, where their statues were carried in grand processions. Music played a major role in these celebrations. One of the key instruments was the sistrum, a metal rattle, which was used in ceremonies for the goddesses Hathor and Isis, who was the goddess of motherhood and magic. The Temple of Ra, the Egyptian sun god, was built in Heliopolis. Ra was the most important god worshipped during the Old Kingdom, around 2600 BCE. The sistrum rattle was often used by Egyptian priests as they performed rituals. A painting of the columns of the great hypostyle hall in Karnak gives us a glimpse into this really ancient history. The gods of Mesopotamia were represented in human form. Although there were hundreds of them, the most important were the patrons of major cities. The gods are known by two names. They have a Sumerian name, which was used until the 2nd millennium BCE, and a later Akkadian name. From around 2200 BCE, Mesopotamian temple complexes included tall step towers called ziggurats. These may have represented a sacred mountain or a ladder for the god to climb up to heaven. They dominated the flat landscape, a visible reminder of the power of the god and the people who had built the temple. Enki, also known as Ea, was the god of fresh water, mischief and crafts, and the patron of the city of Eridu. Inanna, or Ishtar, was the goddess of love, war, and the planet Venus, and the patron of Uruk. Nanna, also called Sin, was the god of the moon, patron of and known as the father of the gods. Ordinary Mesopotamians visited their temples with offerings, such as animals to sacrifice to please their gods. They left behind worshipper statues, which would pray continually to the god on their behalf. These reveal that the Mesopotamians clasped their hands together when praying. I offered incense in front of the ziggurat. The gods smelled the sweet scent and collected over the sacrifice like flies. The Epic of Gilgamesh, a Mesopotamian poem from the 18th century BCE. Both the Egyptians and the Mesopotamians believed that their gods loved sweet-smelling incense. This was a mix of resin, wood, herbs, and spices imported from Arabia, which they burned. Its fragrant smoke was an offering to the gods. The first ziggurats were built in Mesopotamia. They were made of mud bricks, faced with glazed bricks and tiles. The earliest known temple to Amun-Re, Mut, and Montu was built at Karnak in Thebes, around 2055 to 1985 BCE. During the New Kingdom, when Thebes became the capital of Egypt, Amun-Re became the chief god, and his temple at Karnak was massively enlarged. King Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylon rebuilt the ziggurat dedicated to Marduk, which had been destroyed by the Assyrians around 605 BCE. Ningirsu, also known as Ninurta, was the god of war and rainstorms, and patron of the neighboring cities of Girsu and Lagash. The great ziggurat of contained a shrine holding the god's statue. Mesopotamian musicians, followed by priests, would often be seen in these sacred spaces, burning incense resin as an offering.